First tonight to Gaza, where there is no let-up in the violence after a weekend in which more than 100 Palestinians were reportedly killed while waiting for food. Well, Israeli forces have now launched a ground and air assault on the city of Deir el-Balah in central Gaza, home to thousands of displaced people. Israeli tanks and military vehicles are reported to be pushing into the city under heavy artillery cover, with several people already reported killed. Images on social media show flashes of explosives and the sound of sustained gunfire as Israeli troops advance. This comes hours after Israel issued a military evacuation order for Deir el-Balah. The UN says this is yet another devastating blow to its attempts to keep people alive. Well, for more on this, I'm joined now on the line from Tel Aviv by Gideon Levy, who is a columnist with the Haaretz newspaper. He's also the author of the book titled The Punishment of Gaza and is the winner of the 2008 Euromed Journalist Prize. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. Let's start with this Israeli ground and air assault on the city of Deir el-Balah in central Gaza. What can you tell us about that and about what the aim of that operation appears to be? I understand there are thousands of displaced people there, and I'm wondering what the rationale behind it is.
You have an assumption that there is a rationale. Maybe there isn't. The recent days have no explanation except of one, that Israel is seriously planning the ethnic cleansing of the Gaza Strip. And if this is true, and that's the only explanation I can give, then it means to push the population down to the south part of Gaza, to this famous so-called humanitarian city that they want to establish, which is nothing but a concentration camp, and then try to push them away from the Gaza Strip to some other countries. There are all kinds of negotiations about it. The only explanation is really ethnic cleansing. Anything else will be killing just for the sake of killing, because those campaigns have nothing to do neither with self-defense nor with security of Israel. It is really an unbelievable, vicious circle of killing and destruction.
Well, I mean, when the Israelis launch these attacks, they always say they're hunting what they say are terrorists. I mean, is Hamas still relatively strong still from what you can gather in Deir el-Balah? And there have also been suggestions that perhaps this could be the area where some Israeli hostages are being kept. I mean, what's your understanding of what's being talked about on the ground there?
One of the strongest armies in the world is operating now 21 months in the Gaza Strip. Whatever it achieved, I'm not sure it can achieve much more militarily. Hamas is still there as the only dominant political group which runs Gaza, which governs Gaza. Hamas militarily is totally beaten. To speak now about catching terrorists, when you see those scenes which you just show now on your screen, is really not more than propaganda. It has nothing to do. I mean, even if there is here and there some what they call terrorists who is still alive, still active, this does not justify this mass killing. As about the hostages, the assumption is that part of them at least are in Deir el-Balah. This operation might risk their lives, because if the army will get close to them, I can assure you that their captures will kill them.
Indeed, because actually in support of what you just said, we've seen a strong statement put out by the Hostage and Missing Families Forum inside Israel, saying that this latest assault will sacrifice the hostages and the values on which the state of Israel was built, because there is a fear from them, like you articulated, that if this is where some of the hostages are being held, that it could be curtains for them. And just turning to Gaza itself. I mean, people must be very frightened to move around as they head down towards Al-Mawasi in the south, which has been described as an extremely crowded zone on the coast.
I guess that neither of both of us, you and me, can even imagine himself. What does it mean to be now in Gaza, to be a Palestinian in Gaza, to be replaced from one place to the other, to be pushed from one place to the other without any safe place? Israel pushed them to the Mawasi with the promise that the Mawasi will be a safe place. So many of them were killed in the Mawasi. So many times Israel bombed the Mawasi. So there is no safe place. There is nowhere to go, not to speak about the starvation, not to speak about the mental situation that those people are being bombarded now for 21 months non-stop. I really think that none of us can even start to feel what those poor people are going through. And we are dealing with over 2 million people. Let's remember this.
I think you're absolutely right. I certainly can't imagine it. And you mentioned starvation there. I mean, let's turn to the number of Palestinians who are reported to have been killed while seeking aid. I mean, what can you tell us about that?
You see, they took an American-Israeli company to replace UNRWA, the UN agency, which for years is providing aid in Gaza, which is experienced, is well spread in the Gaza Strip. It is the only really humanitarian tool to help those poor people. They pushed them away and brought some American evangelist organization. They opened like 3-4 stations for 2 million people. And surprise, surprise, there is no order in the lines, and the Israeli army is shooting them dead on a daily basis. Dozens of them, dozens of starving people are being shot on a daily basis by cannons, by boats, by guns, from the air, from the sea, from everywhere. And the scenes are heartbreaking, and there's no one to stop it.
Well, I mean, I'm sure you know, Mr. Levy, that the Israelis are disputing the number of Palestinians killed while seeking aid. I mean, the Israelis said their soldiers were there fired warning shots. I mean, the last incident, which involved 25 UN lorries, they said they fired warning shots because they felt an immediate threat from the large numbers of people. I mean, they've questioned the figures from the Hamas-run health ministry, from civil defense, and from doctors, as well as all the sort of grim footage that's circulating on the internet.
If there are doubts about the figures that the Ministry of Health, run by Hamas in Gaza, is providing, so those figures are the minimum figures. And many experts say the numbers are much bigger, because there are so many people still under the rubble. There is a family which was killed last week, whole family, 14 people, and they are still lying under the rubble. So we don't count them. We have to believe to the figures that the health ministry, the Palestinian health ministry, is providing. And above all, it's really not about statistics now. It's very clear that a mass killing, a bloodbath is taking place. It's very clear that tens of thousands of innocent people are being killed. It's very clear that on every 6 hours, 20 Palestinians are killed. Every hour, a child is being killed. And all the rest is really not important.
And I mean, you are in Israel yourself. Do you see images of sort of hungry people in Gaza and malnourished children, which are flooding a lot of the international media? Do people in Israel see those images?
Not at all. The Israeli media voluntarily, there is no censorship, voluntarily, in order not to bother our readers and viewers, So almost all the Israeli media, except of my newspaper Haaretz, who is the only mainstream outlet which really shows reality, all the rest don't show anything ever since the 7th of October. Israelis don't want to see. The media provides them this luxury not to see. And I can assure you that any citizens of Nigeria saw more of Gaza than an average Israeli. And that's part of the explanation of the explanations why so very few Israelis are shocked, ashamed, and feel guilty about what's going on in Gaza, because all the rest just turn the face away. Look, if you want to see, you can see. We can all watch all kind of international outlets. There are so many footages in the social media. There's no problem to see what's going on there. The only thing is that you have to be wanting. You have to want to watch it. You have to have interest. You have to have conscience to see what is being done on your behalf.
Indeed, and we've heard from many Gazans wondering how the Israelis can hate them so much and how the world can ignore what's going on there. I mean, you said that people do have access to social media, they have access to the internet, they can watch international news. I mean, there must be a way that one can gauge what the Israelis are making of all these reports that are coming in day after day, that people who are simply seeking aid are reportedly dying at the hands of Israeli troops.
Yeah, but if you listen to the mainstream Israeli media, this is not what is described. What is described is that there are some problems in those lines, and the soldiers have to keep some order, and therefore they are shooting. I guess you know it from many examples in the history of Africa in which police is shooting at crowds, so-called in order to get some order and to keep the law, which is ridiculous, obviously. This is a massacre. This is nothing but a massacre. But for most of the Israelis, it's much more convenient. It's much more comfortable to believe to the lies rather than to face reality. And therefore, it is so efficient. And above all, something happened in Israeli society after the 7th of October with all its crimes and atrocities, that most of the Israelis don't care anymore about Gaza and don't care about what's going on in Gaza. And many of them believe that there are no innocent people in Gaza, including not the babies, and therefore Israel has the right to do whatever it wants.
And still no sense, Mr. Levy, of when and if a ceasefire deal will happen that will ease the suffering of the people of Gaza and bring the remaining Israeli hostages home.
Until now, the Israeli government didn't show any signs of being really, any signs of urgency and any signs of really being interested in it. The feeling is that Israel wants to continue to go on with this war. The Americans, who could have put an end to it within hours, also don't seem to be very eager to end this war. The rest of the world is totally passive and apathetical. So Israel can go on. It will come only if really some kind of international pressure will be put on Israel to put an end to this mass killing. I don't see it happening right now.
And just along the lines of what you were talking about there, I mean, we hear this narrative that part of the reason why this war is continuing is in large part because the Israeli Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, does not want to see an end to the war because it is in his own personal political interest. I mean, what do you make of that narrative from within Israel? Is it a false narrative?
No, it's not a false narrative, but I give him the benefit of the doubt that it's not the only motivation. I think that Netanyahu has a plan. I think this plan is very, very dangerous, criminal and immoral, namely to get a Gaza Strip without Palestinians. This is the real plan. And Israel is using this opportunity to promote this plan as much as possible. It's also an American plan. I must remind you the idea of President Trump about creating or establishing a Riviera in the Gaza Strip includes a pure ethnic cleansing of Gaza before this Riviera will be established. So both Americans and Israelis want to see the Gaza Strip cleansed without Palestinians. And they see it as an opportunity now to promote this idea, this plan. Will it be implemented? It depends much on the international community. If the international community will not stop Israel, it might become true.
Sounds very disturbing. I want to thank you very much indeed, Gideon Levy. He's a columnist with the Haaretz newspaper. He's also the author of the book titled The Punishment of Gaza, and is the winner of the 2008 Euromed Journalist Prize. And he was talking to me on the line there from Tel Aviv.